Hello. The question today is how to make a corridor surface boundary without using the extents of the corridor. So, for example, if you were just making a surface of the paved area, and so you want to make a boundary around the paved area that you can apply instead of having to go along and pick all those points to do that. So I'll show you a quick way that we can accomplish that. First thing I'll do is I will select the corridor object, and then up here on the ribbon, click where it says Launch Pad, that little down arrow, and pick Polyline from Corridor. Then pick the corridor feature line that you want to extract. In this case, this is my edge of travel way, so the edge of the pavement. So I'll pick that one, and I'll also pick on the other side that one. Now the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to isolate these objects so I can work with just these two polylines. So I'll pick those two new polylines that were created, and I'll pick down here on isolate objects, and I will tell it to isolate those two objects. I must have also had the corridor selected, so let's just pick the corridor and tell it to hide that object. Okay, so now I just have those polylines. Now the next thing I want to do is explode both of these down into lines. So I'll type explode, pick the two 3D polylines, and now I have individual three-dimensional line objects. You can see here on the left in my properties, my start Z and end Z have values. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick all of these three-dimensional lines, and I want those flat to 0. So I'll pick all of those on the screen. Then I'll go to my properties dialog, scroll down, set start Z to 0, and set end Z to 0. So now I've got some two-dimensional line work at 0 elevation. I need to cap the ends, so I'll run a line from endpoint to endpoint here, another one, another line, endpoint to endpoint there. Now what I want to do is join all of these lines into a single polyline. So I'll use the AutoCAD P-Edit command for polyline edit, and multiple, put a window around those objects, hit enter. Do I want to turn those into polylines? Yes, I do. And I want to join those, and I'm going to give it a fuzz distance of 0 because I expect all of these polylines to have endpoints that touch. So we'll say 0, and I'll hit enter. If I select the object, it should go all the way around in a circle. Not a circle, but an enclosed area. Okay. All right, so let's unisolate, so end object isolation. Now I see my corridor again. So now when I go in to create my corridor surface, I already had one, let me delete that. Okay, so I'll say create corridor surface, tell it the code I want, which is pavement, and then for boundary, right click here, add from polygon, and then go out and pick that polyline I just created and say OK, rebuild, and now I have a surface model that follows just my paved area.